Tsuchikorobi, the floating mass. Imagine you're walking alone on a narrow mountain path in rural Japan. No phone signal, no streetlights, just trees closing in on both sides, insects buzzing in the dark, and the sound of your own footsteps on loose soil. Then without warning, you feel something shift in front of you, something above you, something that looks like a dark mass suspended in the air, barely visible against the night. Tsuchikorobi literally means the earth roller, and it is one of the most obscure and unsettling beings in Japanese folklore. It isn't a normal animal, and it isn't exactly a ghost either. In old mountain tales, it's described as a strange, rolling presence made of soil and earth, sometimes imagined as a ball-like creature covered in rough, fuzzy hair, occasionally with a single glowing eye or a trunk-like limb emerging from its body. Witnesses say it suddenly tumbles along narrow forest paths and mountain slopes, moving like a living boulder, silent at first, then faster, as if gravity itself has come alive. Travelers would hear the ground shifting before they ever saw it, the soft sound of dirt sliding, leaves being pushed aside, branches snapping under invisible weight. Then they'd see it, a dark shape rolling toward them, not like an animal chasing prey, but like an object that should not be alive at all. Although the Tsuchikorobi isn't dangerous at all, it's actually described as a gentle yokai, a kind of quiet mountain spirit that follows travelers to make sure they're safe while walking through remote paths. Instead of attacking, it rolls behind people like a silent guardian, watching from the shadows, keeping close in case they fall or lose their way. Teke Teke, the legless spirit. Teke Teke is one of the most disturbing urban legends in Japan because it feels uncomfortably close to real life. The story says once a normal young woman died in a tragic train accident, losing the lower half of her body. Instead of finding peace, her spirit returned, and now she roams the streets at night, especially near train stations, bridges, and empty roads. People say she moves by dragging herself with her arms, and the sound her elbows make against the ground goes, Teke Teke, which is where her name comes from. The idea alone is enough to make your skin crawl, not because it's gory, but because it's sad, unfair, and deeply human. Teke Teke isn't some ancient demon. She's a victim of modern life, turned into something frightening. The legend says she chases people who walk alone at night, especially students, and once she locks onto you, she doesn't stop. Some versions say she carries a sharp object, others say she just grabs people. But the core fear is always the same. You hear the sound first, then you realize something is moving toward you that shouldn't even be able to move at all. Teke Teke represents the fear of accidents, of cities, of trains, and of the idea that death doesn't always mean the end. Tsuchinoko, the snake that shouldn't exist. Tsuchinoko is another strange cryptid in Japan. It sounds almost silly at first, but the more you learn about it, the more unsettling it becomes. It's described as a short, thick snake with a very wide middle, almost like a normal snake swallowed something too big and never digested it. But what really makes Tsuchinoko creepy is how it moves. Witnesses say it doesn't just slither like a normal snake, it jumps, rolls, and sometimes even stands upright for a brief moment. That breaks everything we expect from reptiles, and when an animal moves in a way your brain can't predict, it instantly feels wrong and terrifying. What makes this even more interesting is how seriously people in Japan take it. Several villages have offered large cash rewards for anyone who can capture a Tsuchinoko, and mayors have openly supported search teams. There are blurry photos, strange tracks, and dozens of eyewitness reports, all describing the same odd shape. Scientists think it might be a rare, deformed snake or an unknown species, but no one has ever produced solid proof. Bake-kujira, the ghost whale. Bake-kujira is one of the most haunting sea cryptids in Japanese folklore. The name literally means ghost whale, and it's described as a massive whale skeleton floating through the ocean on foggy nights. With no flesh and skin, just glowing white bones moving through the water as if they were alive. Sailors said it appeared off the western coast of Japan, often surrounded by strange fish and birds that no one recognized. But Bake-kujira wasn't something you could fight or escape from. It was believed to bring disasters with it, including storms, sickness, famine, and death among fishermen. Many people thought it was the spirit of whales killed by humans, returning to punish those who hunted them. Imagine being on a wooden boat at night, surrounded by fog, and suddenly seeing a glowing skeleton whale swimming toward you. It doesn't even look at you. It just passes by, and you know something terrible is going to happen soon. Bake-kujira is slow horror, the kind that doesn't scream or chase, but quietly reminds you that nature remembers everything humans do to it, and sometimes it answers back. Satori, the mind-reading mountain monster. Satori might be one of the most psychologically terrifying creatures in Japanese folklore because it doesn't attack your body first, it attacks your mind. Satori are said to live deep in the mountains of central Japan, far away from cities and villages, in places where hikers often feel watched even when they are alone. They are described as small, ape-like creatures that walk upright, similar to monkeys, but with human intelligence. What makes them terrifying is their ability to read thoughts. According to legend, when someone encounters a Satori, the creature speaks the person's thoughts out loud before they can even say them. If you think I'm scared, it says you're scared. If you think don't move, it repeats it instantly. Some stories say Satori only attack if they sense violent or hostile thoughts, while others say they use this power simply to confuse and frighten people. The real fear here is not physical harm, it's the idea of being completely exposed. You can't lie. You can't hide fear. You can't pretend to be calm. The Satori already knows what you're thinking. It's like meeting something that can see your internet search history, your secrets, and your worst thoughts all at once. Satori represents one of the deepest human fears. Not being hunted, but being understood too well by something that is not human at all. Akashita, Dark Cloud Guardian. Now this one feels less like a creature and more like a moving disaster. Akashita is said to appear as a massive black cloud hovering over rivers, dams, and floodgates. Not floating like normal clouds, just sitting there. Low and heavy, just watching. People believed that when Akashita appeared, crops would fail, water would turn bad, floods would come, illness would spread. It wasn't just a sign of bad luck. It was believed to cause it. Some descriptions say that inside the cloud, you could see glowing eyes or a red mouth opening and closing, like something alive was inside the darkness itself. Imagine standing near a river at night and seeing a cloud that doesn't move with the wind. It just stays there, growing darker. Akashita represents one of the scariest ideas ever. A creature you can't fight, you can't run from, you can't even see properly. It's not chasing you. It's just waiting for everything to go wrong. Akateko, the hanging red hand. This one looks like something from a horror movie. Akateko is about the size of a child's, hanging from tree branches deep in the forest, with no arm and no body, just a single crimson hand suspended in the darkness, gently swaying as if it's alive. People walking along old village paths would suddenly glance upward and see it dangling above them, its fingers slowly curling and uncurling, as if testing the air. Some stories say the hand looks wet, almost like it's dripping blood, while others say it suddenly drops down and tries to grab people's heads or tug at their hair and clothes. But the most terrifying part is how Akateko appears. There's no sound, no footsteps, no warning at all. One moment the tree is empty, and the next moment a hand is watching you from above. It triggers one of the deepest human fears, the feeling of being observed by something you can't see properly. And because there's no body attached, your brain can't process it. There's no logic, no animal shape, just a piece of something that should never exist on its own. Oboro-guruma, the haunted ox cart. Oboro-guruma is another strangest yokai in Japanese folklore because it isn't an animal and it isn't human. It's a vehicle, a ghost vehicle. The name Oboro-guruma literally means hazy cart, and people describe it as a traditional wooden ox cart, the kind that once moved quietly through old Japanese streets and countryside roads. But when Oboro-guruma appears, there is no ox pulling it, no driver sitting inside, just an empty cart rolling on its own through mist and darkness, as if something invisible is guiding it forward. At first glance, it looks normal. Old wood, large hollow frame, wheels slowly turning. But then you notice what's wrong. A human face is embedded into the cart itself, sometimes on the front, sometimes inside the wheel. Eyes open, mouth stretched into an unnatural expression, watching everything around it, not blinking, not breathing, just staring. People say the face looks alive, as if the cart appears on foggy nights, especially under moonlight. Travelers hear the creaking of wooden wheels before they see anything. And when they step outside, the cart is suddenly there, standing in the middle of the road like it's always been waiting. It rarely attacks. It doesn't chase. It simply exists, filled with a presence that feels heavy, like a memory that refuses to fade. Many legends say Oboroguruma is born from lingering emotions, grudges, or unfinished business, the spirit of someone trapped inside an object that should never have been alive. And that's what makes it terrifying. Not what it does, but what it represents. A reminder that even forgotten things can remember us.